You are listening to the Manument Podcast. My name is Casey, and I'm here with my buddy Glenn Johnson, investment advisor and founder of Jabez Financial right here in the Uncasville area. Now, Glenn, while people spend a lot of time worrying about their money lasting, many are also starting to wonder whether they're giving up years that they could be spending enjoying retirement. So if you're fed up with work and you're considering retiring early, I want you to listen up because I've got some stats that may just give you the nudge that you need. So if you work 40 hours a week, over your lifetime, you will spend 90,000 hours working. Now, nearly half of people, 46%, believe work is literally making them sick. 2 in 3 people, 77% say it's having a negative effect on their mental health. And a metric called HALE, H-A-L-E, health life expectancy, is indicating that you'll likely experience a health issue, maybe a serious one, by age 64. So, Glenn, I'm curious what you see or what your experience is when your clients are considering early retirement. Is it usually forced on them or is it a more voluntary action? What are you seeing?
Well, we'll start with, what would you prefer? Would you prefer that your decision to retire be forced or voluntary? It's a big decision. Mm-hmm. And we certainly want the major decisions in life to be voluntary and not forced. Mm-hmm. No one likes forced decisions. Yet, sadly, some people live most of their lives in a constant state of making forced decisions. They're always having their back up against the wall and feeling like, well, I have no other choice. I had to do this. They'll say, because that person did this over here, now I have to do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like a lot of people end up reacting to life instead of maybe preparing for it.
Right. Yeah. They'll react. Well, because that happened. Now I've got to do this. And it's always because of some circumstances outside of their control that put them in an uncomfortable position without having any options that they really like. And, yes, things happen outside of our control daily, and that can really screw things up for us. Mm-hmm. But we don't have to become victims of circumstance. In fact, most of the circumstances could have actually been avoided. See, here's the thing. Whether or not an action is forced or voluntary is determined by when it is made. See, most forced decisions are avoided by planning in advance. See, it's the decisions you make now that determine the options you'll have later.
So really, retirement options aren't created at retirement. They're created years before that, right?
Exactly. I remember Zig Ziglar saying, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. Mm-hmm. It's not the will to win that matters so much, but the will to prepare.
Yeah.
And when you make wise voluntary decisions early, when it doesn't seem so consequential, you'll find out later when adversity comes, and it does, and it will. When adversity comes, it won't be nearly as bad because you'll have more options because you've prepared in advance. And leaving a lifelong career, that's one of life's great turning points. And that's one you really want to do on your own terms.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people would much rather walk away because they want to than because they have to.
Right. And think of that, and that's the point. Wouldn't you rather retire your job because you don't need it anymore and you've got better things to do? Wouldn't you rather that? I mean, because the alternative is just to experience your job retiring you for one reason or another. Mm-hmm. So maybe your job's just eliminated and your services simply aren't needed any longer, or you just can't physically do it anymore, or maybe you've reached the point mentally or emotionally that you just can't take it any longer. Yeah, because of stress.
Well, that's probably the part that people don't spend enough time thinking about, the possibility that decision may not ultimately be theirs. I feel like that's something that you have to see from time to time in your office.
I see it a lot. One of the questions I like to ask is, if finances were not an issue at all, would you retire today? That's like, if money weren't an issue, would you retire right now?
Yeah.
And then that's when they start evaluating their daily routine sometimes. And some people, it was great. Just this past week, I met with a great couple for the first time. And he's like, I really don't mind going to work. I wake up, I've got a nice ride to work. He's working with good people and life is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is, if he wanted to financially retire right now, he could.
Yeah.
There's no problem with that. But he also doesn't mind going to work. I mean, what a great position to be in.
What a blessing. There's so many that are not in that same position.
Right. I mean, but he's lived well. And then there's people that, they're facing having a heart attack every Monday morning because they just can't stand the idea of waking up and going to work anymore.
Yeah. We call that the Sunday scaries, Glenn. When you start thinking about what's coming for you Monday, you get the Sunday scaries.
The Sunday scaries. I remember years ago, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but they used to say the heart attack rates really jumped up on between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. Monday morning.
Oh, that's a scary statistic.
By a lot.
Yeah.
I'm like, geez, people are dying to go to work. Sorry, bad joke, but
good one.
But we can get out of that. If we, whatever circumstances you're in, when we pay attention to it and map out a plan, we can make every set of circumstances you're in better than it would have been. But you've got to have a plan in place. It actually starts with prioritizing your future self over your present self. So you want to make decisions now that may initially seem inconvenient, but make things a whole lot better for yourself in the future. It can be something even as simple as laying out what clothes you're going to put on tomorrow morning. And then when you wake up, you're like, oh, my clothes are already laid out for me. That makes that much easier for me.
Mm-hmm.
But when you set yourself up for success on a daily basis, just maybe one day in advance, imagine how impactful it can be when you set yourself up permanently for all of your retirement years. And that's why it's a great place to start when you can come in for a conversation and share what you'd like the next stage or the next season of your life to look like. And in the process, you'll take control of your future by building it by design and not just dealing with circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got the rest of your life ahead of you. Make it extraordinary.
Well, I want to go back to this conversation we were kind of having earlier about people being burned out and that mindset. If you don't love your job, and you've been in this business a long time, Glenn, you've retired people hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. So you've seen a lot. And these statistics that we're seeing are suggesting that so many people are feeling burned out at their job. So I'm wondering if you're seeing more conversations with your clients specifically around quality of life, even more so than maybe you did with clients 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Is that more of a conversation topic in your office now?
Oh, it really is. It really is. It's funny because when people are younger, they're all about the money. But then as they mature and as they, and as we all mature and as we all grow up, we look deeper into quality of life. Do I want to spend time with my grandchildren? Yes, I do. Do I want to enjoy a vacation with my wife and enjoy each other's company? Yes. These are some things that, here's the thing, I'll tell you, I think about money a whole lot less than I used to. Mm-hmm. Even personally, a whole lot less.
Yeah.
I'm way more concerned with what money can do rather than actually having it.
Yeah.
And that's something we get to plan out as our clients walk into retirement. Yes, they've got the assets properly structured so that their needs are met. But boy, the light really comes on when we can say, all right, well, now we've got these extra dollars over here. How can we use them to make the lives of those we love better?
Well, let's say we've got somebody listening right now, Glenn, and they're wondering whether retirement might be closer than they think. What would be the first step that they should take? What would you tell somebody in that boat?
Well, the first thing to say, give me a call. Let come in for a conversation. If these are thoughts that you're thinking, if the idea is popping in your head, I wonder what retirement's going to look like. I wonder if I can afford to retire. I wonder when that is. Mm-hmm. The moment those thoughts start jumping into your head periodically, that's when you want to pick up the phone and make a call. If the thought is crossing your mind, well, there's a reason you have that thought. Mm-hmm. And let's go with it. Let's shine a light on it and decide, what would you like your retirement and your financial future to look like? And let's make it the best it can possibly be.
And that's going to do it for us this week here on The Manument Show. But Glenn and I will be back next week with more retirement insight for you. But until then, Glenn, I'll hand it back over to you for the final word today. Take us out, my friend.
Okay. Well, you know what? For all of you listening out there, I want to thank you for your time and your attention to tune into the show, whether it be on the radio or on the Manument podcast. I want to know that we appreciate you. And I'm looking forward to getting a chance to meet you and spend some time getting to know what you would like your future to look like.
Investment advisory services offered through Jabez Financial, LLC, a registered investment advisor firm. Registration is not an endorsement by securities regulators. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities offered through Glenn Johnson, Connecticut Insurance, license number 4628409. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by Jabez Financial, LLC. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Jabez Financial, LLC is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Jabez Financial, LLC is licensed in your state, please call 860-390-0093.